Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we have some very woke students trying to call out for their own demise. Of course, they've been indoctrinated as they always have been, and the only way to stop this type of indoctrination and type of stuff is to simply, maybe not allow it. So we have this clip here, kind of showing very very young kids that have no understanding or meaning of what's going on with their bodies, let alone themselves, and they're showing this type of flag. This is what the schools are doing at a young age. So now we have that. See, this they're going around schools and doing all that great nonsense. Essentially indoctrinating kids. This should not be a thing that kids have to worry about at any age. In fact, I would even say banish high school and only be allowed, and maybe college. And then we have some other issues where they're trying to indoctrinate kids at college. But at that point, usually we have some other issues. But what I also would be saying is that we may have other issues in colleges as well where they're trying to indoctrinate and do other crazy stuff to kids there as well, or young adults, in this sense, to where I don't mind discussion, but when we have things that are going to actively spout active racism and stuff like that, it becomes a big issue. And here's another thing to where the kids walk out and all that other stuff to what they're doing, and it's actually annoying. I think they're ignorant. They don't understand what the law actually is because they've been lied to about what the actual law does. So we're going to show this clip of what they're thinking of what the law is, etc., etc. But they're wrong again because they're high school students. What do they know?
9 yay votes from Kentucky state senators, SB 150 has passed. This legislation is one of a handful of bills centered around parental rights. But more controversially, it addresses how students' pronouns are used in the classroom.
Nothing in that bill prevents a parent or a guardian from requesting the use of a name or a nickname different from the name in the student's educational records.
SB 150 would give educators the option to use pronouns aligned with a student's gender identity, but not require it.
A middle ground can be found without forcing a teacher to use a pronoun that does not conform to the student's sex. But pronouns are different. The terms he and she communicate fixed facts about a person, and teachers should not be forced to violate their consciences regarding what they know to be true or not true.
The bill was introduced by Republican Senator Max Wise. Wise is also the running mate for gubernatorial candidate Kelly Craft. Opponents of the bill believe it's harmful to transgender kids, including Senator Karen Berg, who lost her transgender adult son to suicide in December.
Your vote, yes, on this bill means one of two things. Either you believe that trans children do not exist, or you believe that trans children do not deserve to exist.
Included in the 6 no votes was Democrat Robin Webb, who criticized the timing of this bill being brought to the floor. A new version of the bill was adopted by a committee just hours before.
It was not on this computer screen until just now. I've not had adequate time to do that. I've not had adequate time to see the testimony of mental health care professionals, one of which we honored here today, to see maybe what that impact of this may have.
Despite this opposition,
Senate Bill 150 as amended is passed.
It will now be up to lawmakers in the House to decide if this bill heads to the governor's desk. In Frankfort, Mason Brighton, Spectrum News.
What I don't like here is that one of the ladies is using their own kid as a political pawn for their own activism, which is completely insanity, which would happen to be potentially your own fault for having this happen. I feel bad for the kid because she was essentially lied to and all that great jazz to a life that didn't help them at all. And the why is where we're going to talk about the suicide rate and all the other evidence and stuff like that is being out there. Also, another thing is that when the Democrats are saying, "Oh, they didn't just get this, or it's just been put on the screen or whatever," it adds another great concern to me because I don't think that's even remotely the case either. I don't really start to agree or want to listen to Democrats when they speak sometimes, just because of the mere fact that they end up becoming the ones that lie consistently. And that may be the actual lie to where it was actually put in front of her. She's playing that as a front. I don't like it when kids are being used as a martyr or a actual reason to further your political agenda, especially after they're passed away, because that's disgusting. So that kind of shows kind of the level where this woman is. And also another thing as well, to where they're kind of just saying about, oh, well, if you vote against her, trying to understand that that the transgender people don't exist, or that they should not exist. That's completely absurd and insane in itself. Nobody is saying that they don't exist. In fact, I do believe that there are trans people that do exist. Mostly hermaphrodites in that aspect, but you call them what you may. We're not saying that they don't exist. We're saying that the trying to force an ideology onto people is insane, and that should not be allowed. What you people are doing are trying to force an ideology onto kids, which is complete BS. So, right? So, like, when we're putting into bills, ladies and gentlemen, to, pretty much prevent, forcing things onto kids and stuff like that, that's okay. Because you don't want to force things onto kids or push into an indoctrination. It's literally what we call political stuff. And anything that's political, I'd say, should be immediately out of the kids' minds and heads, especially at young ages. And since this is a huge political issue, this should not be a thing, right? So, enough with that bullshit, alright? We don't do that there. Here's another clip of kind of like what's going on with the kids are pretty much saying about, they're being misinformed and all that stuff about the whole issue. So take a look at this.
Reporting for WKYT News. There were some student-led walkouts across central Kentucky today. This is video from Danville Independent Schools. Students chanted, "Trans rights are human rights," and they say they're planning a bigger rally in the future.
Well, students at 2 Lexington high schools also staged walkouts this morning. They're protesting several bills in Frankfort dealing with LGBTQ issues. WKYT's Julia Sandor talked with students this morning who say they're proud of their classmates. It's our top story at 6.
This is not a struggle for, quote, fitting in. This is not a struggle to just be understood. This is a struggle for life.
Hundreds of students stood side by side, walking out from class as supporters and allies, speaking out against what they say is anti-LGBTQ legislation.
Coming out here is a way to show the legislature, exactly who's affected by this, because I think that they're making decisions for people without really understanding what they're doing to the people who the law affects.
Students spoke out about Senate Bill 150, which requires parent notifications when it comes to sexual issues and aims to limit the authority of the State Board and Department of Education when it comes to gender identity.
If our legislators really wanted to help kids, they would pass laws to create safe bathrooms and locker rooms.
And students say they'll continue to speak out until their voices are heard by senators and representatives.
The large crowd that came and the powerful speeches from our other speakers definitely will send a message.
Being one of the largest schools in the state, Lafayette High School has strength in numbers.
I thought my transition was a burden to those around me.
But they also say there's even more strength in being able to be yourself.
Trans and LGBTQ people, part of that community, we're not hurting anybody. We're just we're trying to be authentically ourselves.
In Lexington, Julia Sandor, WKYT.
This wasn't the only walkout today in Lexington. Students at Dunbar High School also staged a protest against what they say is anti-LGBTQ legislation. According to the Herald Leader, a flyer posted on the Dunbar Theater Facebook page said, quote, "I want my rights back right now." The flyer said the protest was aimed at protesting bills against trans and LGBTQ people.
What I've noticed majority of the time is that they're actually women that are doing this, because they're mostly more highly influential by this, which is kind of a concern because why so many women are voting Democrat. So we got to try to somehow fight back with this and try to get women to vote in a way that is not detrimental to their own health, but of course they're doing it to themselves. But I digress. what we're seeing here is that some of them speak about that they just don't know about the laws or what they are doing or whatever, are ignorant about it. And no, that's not the case. I think it's the opposite. I think you are the ignorant ones and you're being told a lie. It's just a matter of time until somebody sexually assaults you and then you become a victim. That's the issue that we have here. And if you become a victim, it becomes a you problem. And then now what's going to be your reality. So, like I said, there is a Chicago thing that's been going on that obviously is, doing this so-called thing to allowing all kinds of, like, all genders allowed into the bathroom. I don't know that statistic yet. It's still ongoing. So I think it's only been going about a year, so we have to wait and see. But it seems to be pretty bad. I'll have to look. I'll do more research on that. I may actually do a live stream video on that one because that seems a little bit off topic to what I want to do. So, anywho, not really off topic, but kind of like off what my normal searching would be. So we have this: breaking. Kentucky Senate passes discriminatory education bill targeting LGBTQ plus youth. So we're gonna go exactly what's going on here and why they're horribly ignorant on this, or rather, what they're going up against. Yesterday, the Kentucky Senate passed Senate Bill 150, a discriminatory bill that targets LGBT plus youth and prevents teachers from creating self-inclusive classrooms. The bill now moves to the House. SB 150 could force teachers to close LGBT plus students' identity to their parents, making it more difficult for LGBT plus students to seek mental and physical health assistance from trusted adults in school. The bill also allows teachers and students to misgender their own pupils and classmates and prohibits schools from recommending or requiring any policies on pronoun use. Your vote yes on this bill means one of two things, which obviously we already heard that. So, yeah. So what we're seeing here is that the bill specifically is just letting parents be notified about their kids being LGBTQ. That's literally all it's doing, and not allowing the schools to force their own ideology onto kids. And that is not removing the kids or anybody's right to either be gay or trans. That is just not allowing teachers to forcibly put their ideologies or political stuff onto kids at that age, which is pretty much the way it is. So I don't see where this is kind of the issue, because it's just letting kids know, and of course the media and the Democrats just don't want parents to have any rights at all towards their kids. So they just want, the school and the government to have rights towards the kids. The government owns your kid, not you. So at the end of the day, that's the whole meaning of this and what's been going on. And I think the kids are horribly misinformed. They just don't know what's going on. And I think that this is a step in the right direction to prevent kids from being indoctrinated, and parents to have at least control over their kids, as they always should, because they're the parents. They know what's right for their children. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.